What's up, you beautiful gamers, and we welcome back to Role-Playing James, to my little lone corner in the internet where we like to talk about video games. And today we're gonna be talking about King Arthur: A Knight's Tale. James, why are you so fancy? Well, I was working. I was just wrapping up today's work, and this news came into my attention, the news for this game, and I was like, hey, let's do some digging about it. The game was just recently announcement. This is fresh news, and we have quite a lot of information. In today's video we will be talking about everything that we know about the game, which is quite a lot. Like, we do know quite a lot about the game regarding gameplay, story, open world, mechanics. There's a huge load of stuff and information that we have on the game. So if you're interested in that, don't forget to subscribe to RPJames to have this news and all this content related to RPGs. Like the video, and well, get comfy and let's get into the matter, alright? Now, this is a tactical RPG from an Hungarian studio, which you may know for some of the games, the Van Helsing Adventures game, some of the Warhammer 40k Inquisitor series, and this is being kickstarted, but there's something really interesting in here. It doesn't matter if they don't actually get the funds, if they don't complete the goals, which is quite low. The goal that they're striving for, it's actually set up quite low. And you see, when you think about Kickstarter campaigns games, it's pretty much like a Russian roulette. There we have some pretty amazing games from Kickstarter, but we also have some flawed games. But this thing, I think it's going more into the approach of what Divinity Original Sin did back in its day. The game's already like, it's a fully playable game from a developer company that has like 15 years of experience on making video games, and they are like experimenting with the platform and see what kind of feedback can they get from the community. But regardless, it doesn't matter what happens to the Kickstarter campaign, the game will still be releasing no matter what. Now, in the trailer it is said that, well, it will be releasing primarily on Steam, and then we'll be getting it on Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5. Don't think that we will be getting it in last generation consoles, which is quite the actual generation consoles, because it's not the just babbling around. Alright, but what do we know about the gameplay, the world, the story, and all that stuff that we'll be talking, that we all like to see? The game is set in the Arthurian legends and mythology and the fable tales from the Knights of Camelot and the Round Table. Now, if you expect a fully traditional storytelling, well, you won't find it in here. They are taking quite some liberties in it. The main storyline is set up. You will be playing as Mordred, the Black Knight, which is one of the highest nemesis of King Arthur. There was this battle where you killed each other, and then you got saved by the Lady of the Lake. And if you know anything about the Arthurian mythology, you know that she is the one that many times, in many instances, she is the one responsible for Arthur getting the Excalibur. Now, she saves them both. King Arthur he fell into a deep slumber that brought terrible nightmares to the kingdom, and this is where the plot game begins. It's a tactical RPG. The developers, they compare it to XCOM, and you can see from the gameplay and the trailer that it has this grid-based map where you have some action points, and you do have like to do a lot of strategic stuff to traverse through the levels. It is said to have like 20 main story levels, as well as some side activities. Some really interesting mechanics if you play like XCOM or Mordheim, City of the Dam, or these games kind of genre. There's a whole lot that they taking the inspiration from, and there's a whole lot of stuff that we'll be able to do in here. For example, in the battlefields, you will be able to flank enemies, like use a high mark of strategic gameplay. One thing that I'm really hoping, I'm really hoping to play is that there are boss fights. And one thing that amazed me as I was reading the article from the Kickstarter campaign is that there will be end game content for when you finish up the main campaign. There will be a whole lot of replayability value with elite bosses and new loot and more loot on the loot system, which is, it's always amazing to have this kind of end content, because there's some players that just like to play the game and then move on with their lives. But there's so many other hardcore elitist bitches, dicks like Mario James that just want the highest difficulty tier and go out there and just grind the hell out of it. I mean, it's really looking really interesting in here. Now, as I mentioned before, you will be playing as Mordred and the Knights of the Round Table. Those will be your heroes. There's said to be like 30 and plus more heroes, which is quite a lot. I'm really digging this. You will be able to customize them in classic RPG fashion. I'm not quite sure how the loot will play in this thing, but it's really interesting that they are actually playing along with these features. Coming back again, if you play XCOM, then you know that you can customize the ship and develop stuff in it, make your gear better, as well as in Mordheim City of the Dam, for example. You can manage your Witherstone shipments and the equipment that you're getting. There's a whole lot to play outside from the actual battles. And I'm one of those guys that actually enjoy playing around with all of this stuff that we have, just like fashioning my Barbies. I really do hope that we get like to change their armors and outfits, because you know, fashion over usefulness. Always. You have to be classy. You have to be classy, a classy guy when you're fighting bodies out there. So now, in Camelot, you will be customizing and building, for the redundant, but buildings, where you will be able to heal your characters. I'm guessing that you will be able to upgrade them as well. People, like the people from Camelot, are suffering from all of these nightmares and all that's happening around it, and it's up to you like to protect them, to be the ruler. And one of the most amazing things that it's always nice to have this kind of depthness and this extra layer to the immersion, where the people out there in the world, it's actually, they have their eyes set up in you, on your decisions that you make, and they say that the decisions that you make will have a huge impact on the world. And not only the citizens that are like suffering around this thing will be able to, like, let's say there's this meter, I guess, where you can be righteous or where you can be just like a pretty much a motherfucker, which is like the good and the bads. And one of the most interesting things in here is that the Knights of the Round Table will be judging your decisions, because each and every single one of the Knights will have their very own personalities, and based on their personalities they might actually have conflicts of interests and ideals. Like I mentioned before, they have their very own personality, and they might actually enter up in conflict with other heroes. So you will be having to take huge consideration on the party that you are getting. Like I mentioned before, there will be like 30 plus characters with 5 different classes. I'm not sure if there will be subclasses, but there's a whole lot to play around in there. And this Knights, the party that you are getting, that you're like taking into battle, and I don't know, like decision making, they will constantly be saying like, hey, I'm not okay with this, or I am, and you have to take. There are some knights that you can just like turn their backs on you because of all of these decisions that you are making throughout the world. And if you play these kind of games, then you know that you shouldn't actually get too attached to your characters, because if they die, well, pretty much fucked. If they die, that's it. That's the end of. I know there are some people that don't like permadeath mechanics, but me personally, I like it in this specific kind of games because it's kind of like the essence of them, you know. But more than that, your characters may get injured, permanently injured. You can heal them in the buildings that you have in Camelot. But pretty much if you get attached to someone, well, he can pretty much fucking die, which is something to take in consideration. But I think that's pretty much a brief recap about everything that we know for the game. I'm really digging what we are seeing in here. I really do want to hear more from them. I'm really hoping to play this game, but let me know in the comments below what do you think about this game, guys. Are you interested in it? Like I mentioned before, we will be getting this game. It doesn't matter if they don't actually succeed in the campaign because the game is actually playable. They're just like playing around with the feedback and experimenting, as they said in the Kickstarter article that you will be able to find in the video description. So yeah, let me know what you think, guys, and I'll see you beautiful. Don't you ever forget that each and every one of you little persons watching RPJames are beautiful people. See you guys in the next one. Remember to stay safe, stay awesome. See you later.